now it's time to keep this heat alive. Medina, defending champ here at the Quiksilver Pro, taking on Caio, Ibelli, and Kolohe Andino. Caio, rookie on tour, leading that race. Andino with a few years under his belt, as we already got started during the break pots.
Yeah, what a heat to follow. I mean, Gabriel Medina, this is a great heat. Kolohe Andino, Caio, Ibelli, Gabriel Medina off to a flying start. And Medina's going to be a little bit amped up, I would have to say, after watching that last performance. John with a couple of 9s, Felipe Toledo with an 8.5 and a 10. And a perfect 10, might I say, as Medina brings this one through the inside. That tide's starting to fill in right now, Joe, so Medina utilizing this wave all the way through the inside. Just to remind everyone, the judges are not scoring length of ride. So all the bulk of the points that come through this wave will be from that outside section. 6.50 for Gabriel Medina. Surfer in blue, up and riding. This is Caio Ibelli. Great finishing maneuver right there for Caio. Tell you what, Joe, unbelievable action here this afternoon.
Things continue with Medina already winding up out the back. A solid highline wrap to set up a big blast on the backhand. Now he's into a lot of foam on the inside corner. He'll just float it shut to show control and lay down. Starting with a 6.5, that's Medina's second scoring ride. Keanu Singh will take on Stu Kennedy in round 5 action. So second and third, still got a fighting chance this round, relatively new to the sport. It's been around since Medina's reign. As we look at the kid from San Clemente. Late hit on the end section, good for one maneuver. This set continues out the back. Caio Ibelli with a lot of speed and fire under the left hook, he's down. So a couple stumbles, as you can tell. These younger names on tour are pushing each other to the limits. This one's still relatively open. Medina's lead with a 6.5 and a 5.0. And now just inside the top 10 picture on the Jeep leaderboard. He's had some tough losses and close decisions. Medina picking off a bomb out the back. Stabs it with a layback. Grab rail, just redirect off the top to control that momentum. So a 2-turn combo for the defending champ, and there's more waves on the way.
That was a beautiful wave that he just rode there. And let's have a look at Caio Ibelli's first. Just cranking that maneuver. More of a traditional approach to the wave. Let's have a look at Gabriel Medina as well. Beautiful deep bottom turn. Jams it up in the pocket there, realizing he's one more maneuver and then just stomps on the tail. Grabs the rail for a little bit of extra stability and manages to come through that one. So he's going to replace that 5 and extend his lead. Look at that bottom turn, Joe. Look how long he holds that board on the rail, just maxing out the speed, and then just hooks it under the pocket right there. I reckon emotions would have been flooding through his body, deciding what to do off that bottom turn, because he's got a bag of tricks as deep as anyone's. And again, that beautiful low, deep bottom turn, holding that board on the rail. And then, there it is. Look at that turn. Extending that front leg and then pulling it back underneath him. Textbook surfing from a former world champion, Gabriel Medina, who is on his way, sitting in a really good spot at the moment. Number 5. Here he goes again.
All setup work for Medina to look for something to project off the lip. He wants to ramp up, big wind up, and he throws a full rotation into a tough landing, so he won't hang on to it.
Yeah, let's have a look and see what went wrong there. Textbook right there, front foot slides up. Didn't quite get the rotation, Joe. Landed in that vortex, you know, when the wave breaks, there's almost like this little trough that you've kind of got to avoid. So he's going to be channeling that.
That's right, Andino taking a look. Throws it up nice and vertical. It's a tough section to work with on the second move, so he has to get out. Kolohe 317 on his last, trying to break free of the combo.
He's a really good friend to me. You know, we spent like a time together in Brazil last year, and we had a lot of fun. So yeah, we're friends, but during the heats, you know, we're kind of enemies. We try like to beat each other, but it's always fun heat against John. We're always putting a good show for everyone. So thank God I got this one. Yeah, Jetty, he's more fired up than my dad. Jetty, he's a lovely person. You know. He's a really close friend to me, and I think everyone on the tour likes this guy, so it's always good to have some good energy in your corner, so it's working good.
He talked about the respect he has for John, and it was John Florence who gave Felipe a call when John was making his signature movie, A View from a Blue Moon. He wanted to compete with aerials with Felipe for big movie parts, and it was his own signature film. We've got Caio up moving quickly through some heavy sections. He falls on the finish. They're chanting his name. He's the world champ in this heat wearing red. Andino now setting up a big first turn on the running left. Hits it even harder on the next section, and he's out. You guys are hoping they're on the right side of the tide for key heats. As we look at Medina winding up a big layback and will not recover. And now as we get back into the lineup, Caio Ibelli looking for a big score. Beautiful bottom turn. Nice carve into a snap, but he falls. So Ibelli starting off strong with a big carving cutback, then ends up losing momentum on the finish.
You've got to be focused on your job at hand.
Looking at 3:25 to go. Kolohe Andino's found the left, under the lip snap. Quick whip off the top and another fall. So Caio and Kolohe have been struggling on their finishes to get back in the seat. Test director Alain Rayou absolutely charges at Chopu, living right here on the southwest of France, as we catch up to Andino. Big section, nails it off the top. He's got a ton of room and hammers it into the flats. He wanted that one. Ends up going down. It would have been a huge score, going for broke, and that was a pretty tough landing pots.
Yeah, Gabriel Medina sitting in a pretty good spot. Caio, though, he's got the roll of the dice, but Medina using that priority, Joe.
Right at the end, Medina will just seal the deal, looking loose and radical. That score didn't matter too much. He was just making sure he was the one on it to make it official. Gabriel back into the quarterfinals once again. He's never finished lower than that in his career. So dangerous when it comes to him competing in the French beach breaks. And he'll be off and running. Now are we putting the pressure on Florence since he's in round 5?